Spaghetti Queens Nation. I'm your host, Agent K.
And I'm Chronic Queen. How's everyone doing out there? Has the past few days just felt like a little weird or fast as shit?
It's been feeling like I'm blinking and then it's like
the next
night,
day.
and it's next day.
Yeah.
And like work is like fast
and
slow and intense. Yes.
Yeah. Same with me. But you know what we should do? We should light it up so we can hopefully slow that shit down.
So I can be cheesing.
Chiefin' or cheesing?
Both.
Haha. I am super excited about the show today.
I am too, because we get to talk about something heavy.
As usual. I feel like every time I lead a show, I'm doing like some heavy ass shit.
Yeah, but I think it's good for people to be like shocked in like certain ways.
Yeah.
Be like, okay, yeah, we do need to talk about this. Like that's interesting that you went through this and this and this. Like, cool. Like, or I did too, or something. Like, someone can relate to like whatever.
I also don't think that they expect people who smoke weed to talk about shit like this. But I feel like there's been a lot of times that I've smoked weed and been able to really like formulate my words to be able to really like express how I feel about certain things.
Sometimes I need to like wait and be like, okay, this is what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of words going on in my head anyway.
Right?
So I have to think of what exactly I need to say, I guess.
Like in the right order.
In the right order.
Yeah.
Not in the right order, but like how, like, yes, so I'm showing that I'm engaged in the conversation. I have to say like, okay, I agree with blah, 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 or disagree with blah, 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 but this is my blah, 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 and like I would do it this way instead of blah, 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 or something like that, because then it makes it sound like you're engaged.
Right, I understand that. Yep.
And then sometimes I just don't be doing that because I'm like, look, man, I'm not even here today.
You're like, this is too heavy of a conversation.
I'm not here today, man.
I'm not here for that. Can we lighten it up a little bit?
We are.
But today, no. Today, no.
Today's going too fast. I'm joking.
But before we get started with today's episode, it's the Getty News Brief. Okay, so for the local Oklahoma news, Governor Kevin Stitt opted out of the PEBT program this year and next year. For those of you whom are unaware, the PEBT program was a supplemental program for families that are in need, ones who are already have food stamps and are signed up on the free lunch program would qualify for additional funding needed to feed students in the summer months when they are home all day. This is a federal program backed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture to assist in feeding these needy families, but there are over 400,000 families identified in Oklahoma alone that would benefit from these resources. Governor Stitt claims that Oklahoma has enough resources to take care of these families without signing up for the federal program, stating it had floundered in other states. Meanwhile, people on the ground connected to families lacking basic resources every day, such as the CEO of Hunger Free Oklahoma, Chris Bernard, calls out the governor for being disconnected with people in the community who are struggling to put a reason behind Stitt's choice to opt out. Chris thinks that Governor Stitt is putting political ideology in an election year before the best interest of Oklahoma. Baffled by this decision, Chris has been part of taking a step forward with 70 community partners who all signed a letter urging the governor to adopt this program, and that by not taking part in the program, he is choosing to leave $50 million of Oklahoma taxpayer dollars in D.C. and not bringing it back to Oklahoma. What kind of...
I think that's dumb of, like, him, of Stint, whatever his damn name is, because he obviously is not, tapped in to, like, his Oklahoma, like, where he's supposed to be governing, leading, being a political leader and all that shit. Like, he's not doing his job, but wants this, like, pay.
Right, well, I also the way that I guess would also word it, or not word it, but my opinion on the matter is that just like how Chris is saying, he's like going with political ideology, but like him and Ryan Walters are both like just surrounding themselves with people who think exactly like them. So like they're only
There's
serving
no one-
their specific demographic,
Yeah.
and they're trying to act like everybody in Oklahoma fits this cookie cutter mold, and it
Yes.
doesn't. Like, you know, the extreme right that has basically infiltrated the Republican Party. Like, there are some balanced Republican leaders that are in Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying? But like these two specifically are like, they, in what I can, from what I can see, they're already playing from the Project 2025 playbook before it's even 2025. Like they're setting the groundwork now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that is dangerous in a lot of levels, because these two specifically hold funding that's needed for Oklahomans, and like they would just rather deny it
Right.
than to take it. That doesn't make any
help
sense.
Take care of their Oklahomians.
Yeah, and that just doesn't.
Oklahomians.
Oklahomans are Oklahomans who smoke weed.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that it's 50 million Oklahoma taxpayer dollars, and they're just leaving it. They'd rather just leave it in DC than to take it. Like that, it's funds that's allocated to us. Right. And you're like, oh no, we don't want to be part of that program because we have enough.
No, we don't.
Yeah, because right now, what's actually happening, because the PEBT program didn't occur this year, is that it's either Cherokee or Creek Nation. They decided to take care of every child with their food program, and while their food program is appreciated, it was very difficult to be able for us, the people, to execute it.
Right.
And even like at the store, there wasn't much support. I'm not complaining about the fact that the native tribes like provided a much needed, support. I'm not taking that away from them at all. I just wish that it was easier on the participant than that.
You just wish the government would do their damn job.
Our government would do their damn job. Yeah, like those the PEBT, it would just gave you an additional EBT card for the kids during the summer.
Right.
That had like $100 and something extra dollars that you could spend on whatever. So you could have got snacks and stuff like that, fruit and whatever else. With the way that they had it this year, was just a little bit more restricted. So bitches. That being said, anyway.
Now on to marijuana moment. For most decades, we have been derailing marijuana by saying cannabis is a gateway drug leading to consumption of more harsher drugs. Lies. While there has not been any data to back up this claim, as the business side of marijuana created an economic boom, psychedelics, mainly mushrooms, have also been in current talks for medical use. Athletes have claimed to be open to treating concussions with psychedelics. Didn't know that. In a study of Boston University, 376 former NFL players, 345 of them had CTE, chronic traumatic.
Yeah, big long word, encephalopathy.
Yeah, I was about to be like...
That's what CTE stands for.
Okay.
They call it the concussion disease.
Interesting. That is 91.7% now. CTE is known to lead to symptoms of depression, loss of judgment and memory, and can even result into dementia. These symptoms can take as long as 10 years before they appear, which has led to a decrease in life expectancy. To those who have played in their past, with these psychedelic, scientists are seeing changes in the brain neuron connectivity with 30 minutes of taking, citing the significant effect on how the brain systems synchronize and groove together. While we have referenced NFL players, boxers, and MMA fighters would also benefit from the science. In fact, so MMA fighters be on psychedelics?
Yeah, I'm sure they wouldn't be doing it while they're
Not
fighting.
while they're fighting. No, but like if they were training on psychedelics, that's some crazy ass shit.
I think it's supposed to be like a recovery thing, and also it's not like they're
Okay.
gonna be like, I'm going home and just grabbing 5 grams. They're probably gonna be microdosing. So like throughout the day they'll probably take a total of 1 gram, but it might be broken up like 5 times.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I've never microdosed. I don't know what that feels like.
Neither have I. I just understand the concept.
Okay.
Microdosing is just giving yourself a little bit
of each
like throughout the day or throughout time or whatever, so that you're like basically constantly in a state.
That's basically what I do with
marijuana.
Got MMA is moving forward with utilizing it in their fighters' recovery routine with positive movement forward in the athletic arena. It was only a matter of time before more liberal states become open to the use of psychedelics, and Colorado wanted to be the first one in the conversation, of course. Colorado voters approved medical mushroom licenses. While this will look very different from the execution of marijuana cards and sales, it is a natural path to available to all those that would qualify for the car. As progress for the magic pizza topping continues forward, the DEA also heard arguments from a doctor who is advocating for cancer patients to have the availability of psilocybin for the end-of-life care. What appears to have occurred is the doctor feels that federal and state right to try RTT laws allow certain patients the ability to try experimental medication or treatments that otherwise may not be available to the public just yet. The DEA, however, indicated that the 2018 federal RTT law doesn't include the exemptions from controlled substance restrictions. Interpretation. There seems to be no path forward in the ability to access Schedule 1 substance for therapeutic use. Dr.
Sunal Agarwal, which is the doctor who's fighting the DEA right now,
is the doctor with the boots on the ground fighting the ability to treat his patients past Big Pharma's pocketbook.
Big Pharma's pocketbook.
Pharma. With treatments that have been documented to work. Kudos to that doctor.
Right. He is fighting the good fight, my friend.
Yeah, you are. I didn't know about the MMA using it. And
that's recent. I didn't know that Colorado even had on the ballot about having.
And I didn't know that either, but of course they would be like, hell right. Yeah, we doing that shit.
But it's different. It's not going to be like dispensaries where you can like go and be like, yeah,
it's like growing your own, right?
No, well, that might be part of it too, but it's supposed to be like you go to these doctors, the doctor like advises, yeah, you know what, I think that we should do like a 1 gram treatment and let you like feel this in this safe space or whatever, or they're gonna be like, you're gonna microdose and here's
this stuff
or you're gonna have to go in there for every freaking dose, because they're trying to not release it where like they can take it home, because then they can't control who's getting it,
of course.
And they don't want to make the same mistake. You know how like the gummies.
Well, people are just, yeah.
You know how gummies ended up like kids taking them.
Yes.
They definitely don't want kids taking shrooms. So,
oh my fucking gosh.
So that's what I feel like. That's what they're definitely trying to limit.
Kids will eat anything.
Right. Limit access to and stuff like that. So I see what they're doing, but what's going to end up happening is it's going to be like mushroom retreats.
Yeah. I can see that.
Me too.
It would be weird. It'd be like Zootopias.
But you have to have a license for it, so it's not like recreational like how it is, but it's only a matter of time. Because yes. Colorado had medical marijuana licenses first, And then they were like, oh, okay, it's recreational. They just can't get the good shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then,
basically.
yeah.
I mean, even their recreational is pretty fucking good.
It was
all
right.
Okay.
It's not Oklahoma
Only
weed.
The one that was really good was
Arizona.
Arizona's fucking weed was so fucking good.
For some, yep.
I don't know what it was.
We have that. What is it? Is it on here or is it on the back of this? I think it's on the back of this. It is High Mountain Health. That's where we stopped.
Yes, and whenever we got home, we were like, "Damn,
this was some pretty good shit."
Was some good shit.
So yeah, we took a trip last year to California, and on the way back, we stopped at
every place that had a recreational
weed. Yeah, we grabbed some, and came back with it, and we tried it out.
It was good.
But we weren't doing a podcast then. We were far from thinking about that.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
on to the next Black Tea. So a distressing incident with a black assistant principal, Kendra Rogers in Corsicana, Texas, at the intermediate school. A student has landed the teacher in the hospital after having to be airlifted due to her injuries. The classroom itself had fewer than 10 students present. For privacy reasons, we don't know the name of the student who attacked her. However, this does highlight growing concerns around the country where teachers are experiencing increased physical attacks. Often, these occurrences happen due to lack of resources for teachers and administrators, as well as a lack of support for students with behavioral health issues. The safety of students and educators is paramount to an adequate environment for learning. However, maintaining a secure environment has proved challenging, to say the least.
Let's keep Miss Kendra Rogers in our thoughts.
There you go.
In our, if you pray.
Yeah, definitely. Because she was airlifted. That's crazy.
Yeah, no,
it had to be pretty damn significant if you got airlifted.
I don't know what to say.
I don't either. In other black tea, we actually see Florida doing the right thing, y'all. Can you believe it?
For the first time?
For the first time in forever.
Anyway.
60-year-old Susan Lawrence was found guilty of manslaughter after shooting her neighbor Ajika A.J. Owens with a .380 through her own metal front door, claiming self-defense. This case originally was finding scrutiny as they assigned an all-white jury to pass judgment on the death of a black woman. Despite the all-white jury, they unanimously rejected Lawrence's self-defense claim after only 2.5 hours of deliberation. Lawrence now faces 30 years in prison due to an escalated disagreement regarding Owens' children playing near her home. This incident was not isolated and has been an ongoing feud between Owens and Lawrence. On June 2nd, 2024, Lawrence threw objects at Owens' children while they were playing, which rightfully prompted Owens to confront Lawrence. As the story continues, Owens banged on the metal front door and was yelling through it, which is when Lawrence claims to have been in fear for her life and shot through the door. However, the jury claimed that Owens posed no imminent threat and rejected her self-defense claims, indicating the situation didn't support evidence under Florida's Stand Your Ground law. It's important to note that Lawrence was charged with manslaughter and not second-degree murder, which actually carries a harsher sentence. So this is the first time I can recall in history where justice was actually served when the victim was black. We all mourn the loss of Ajika Owens, and we feel for the 4 children she left behind. And we do take the time to recognize this victory as progress in the movement.
Damn.
Did you know any of that?
Mm-mm.
I just knew that there was
I think I heard this name, though, on my, timeline.
I heard about the incident, but I didn't know all the details until this story, and I was like, damn, she didn't even make it through the Stand Your Ground law, bruh. But that's because the metal door was the protection, she couldn't get through the metal door.
Right, yeah.
So you just shot through the door just to be spiteful.
Right.
Is basically what the jury was saying.
Yeah.
And, I want to know, I mean, I don't think you can look up who the jury was. I don't think. I might be lying.
I'm not
But
sure.
I'm wondering if they were like, hell no, there's no that it's all white people in Florida of all fucking places.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it could have been in a different age group too.
It could have also been like right now, this is an election year.
It is an
election and this is kind of a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying that Florida is in play, and it's usually a red state, and it's in play to be flipped blue.
That's crazy.
I know. Because all the shit that's in the news usually is by Florida Republican this, Florida Republican that. And so, like, for
Mr. fucking DeSantis.
Yep. Exactly, that one.
I hate that man.
And I think another one is Mark Rubio, but I might be lying.
I'm not even sure.
Let me look up if he's a weirdo Floridian.
Every time I hear DeSantis, I'm like, here we go again.
That's how I feel about Ryan Walters.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And Kevin Stent.
Yep, he is in Florida. Okay, I am not a weirdo.
Crazy.
That's crazy that I'm getting to the point where I can be like Republican in Florida. You know what I mean?
Even thinking about it.
Okay. Anyway.
Now it's time to get into the podcast, Miss Chronic Queen.
All right. Yes.
Lady.
Yes. So today we have a special episode focused on the biracial experience in America. As two individuals, we both straddle multiple cultural backgrounds, so we understand the experience firsthand and identify with the challenges and rewards of our reality.
In this episode, we delve into the complexities of navigating biraciality from social expectations historically as well as currently, and our own personal identity. We'll discuss also how cannabis culture has intersected with our experiences, with other people, providing a unique perspective on belonging and acceptance and tolerance, because bitches are bitches.
Right, they come in all races.
They do.
Okay. Being biracial, we've often felt like we belong in two worlds while at the same time not fully fitting in either one. Haters say that this can lead to a sense of identity crisis as we navigate the pressures of conforming to societal expectations while also embracing our unique heritage. But please note, we reject this seemingly manufactured identity crisis as we know exactly who we are, and it agrees more with our philosophy of not being contained in anyone else's boxes.
Period. Cannabis culture has provided us with a sense of community and belonging that we haven't always found. The cannabis community is often naturally diverse and inclusive, welcoming people from all walks of life. This has been specifically important for us as biracial individuals who have sometimes felt marginalized in other spaces. Yeah, because bitches are bitches.
In this episode, we'll share our personal experiences with biraciality and cannabis culture. We will even touch on things like the strange history of being biracial in America, as well as the challenges and rewards of navigating this complex identity, and how cannabis has helped us to find a sense of peace and belonging.
So whether you're biracial yourself, or you're in a relationship with someone of another culture, simply curious about this topic, or have heard how controversial this topic is because recently bullshit going on now,
right?
Join us for an insightful and thought-provoking conversation.
So let's start this conversation off with a big old huge ass bang. Did you know that America itself has a long-running history of white people arguing about the validity of the blackness of people, like establishing laws that talk about percentages of heritage and shit?
Yes.
What?
Because they did that to Native Americans.
Yeah, in order to get the benefit.
To get the chart,
yeah,
your name had to be on there. and you had to prove that your family name was on there, and you had to prove, and you can even get a percentage of how much you are Native American.
Right.
In
your lineage. It'll
It'll
basically tell you. But also, like, the crazy thing about that is, like, how many historical, like, burnings of documents was there, and then they're still trying to, like, force you to, like, prove your lineage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so if you happen to be amongst those people, if you happen to be amongst those people whose, like, rolls and documents got burned, then you got burned.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
yes.
I don't know. That's crazy. I don't have any Native American in my lineage at all, that I'm aware of. Anyway, we have West Indies in us because mom's side is from. She calls it the Caribbean, but I think it's more like Gulf of Mexico, like Central American, or whatnot. But anyway. Ugh.
Anyway.
What about the fact that the entire trope of biraciality was constructed physically, philosophically, and legally by colonizers? I mean, from the last episode we did on Cannabis History is American History, we discovered that when Jamestown was established as the first English colony in America, they only sent 105 men. Men! There was already Native American women here.
Sus.
Super sus.
But one thing we didn't define was the fact that it was more than just a white British colonist that came here and built it with their hands.
Right. You're absolutely correct. I found a resource. I found a resource from the Daily Beast that talks about how the British sent more than just British citizens and dignitaries. No, they also sent skilled workmen from foreign parts.
Foreign parts like where?
At best, I could find Spain and Germany, which are
white
European. However, the
spicy white.
However, the interesting thing is that the Moors lost control of Spain in 1492. And what date does that coincide with?
Sails the ocean blue.
Right. The Moors actually controlled Spain for quite a long time. They are Muslims who ruled from North Africa. They were known as very skilled builders.
I do remember hearing this, but like vaguely, to be honest.
Right. Because a large part of history is erased.
Yes.
Conveniently. Dun dun dun!
Unfortunately.
Right. Oh, yeah. Personally can't confirm in history right now this second, but I have heard that every beautiful building that we currently have still standing, the Moors had something to do with it, and that we can't build buildings like that anymore due to the lack of the same type of resources, as well as just measurements and calculations in general.
Yeah, well, that's what we all get for burning fucking books and buildings and shit and people and doing all the crazy shit.
Exactly. You make a great point. But that is not the topic of this specific episode. So I digress. No soapboxes today.
Damn.
The fact of the matter is that colonizers came over to what we now know as America. There were already people here who have settled here. So they cleared land to build, and if they ran into the people who were indigenous to the land, well, they either killed them or enslaved them.
Yeah, because if you didn't...
Convert or die!
Convert or die!
Yeah, exactly.
I watched so many Viking movies.
Right. And, you know, the crazy thing is at this time, the colonizers didn't even believe that. Like, that's the reason why they came, was to not be subject to that.
Right.
And then they're like, convert or die.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the last episode we did, we talked about, like, what each one of those types of settlers believed, and that they thought that, you know, religion was a democratic process, right, and that it needed to be voluntary.
Yeah. Instead of, like, they, like, forced it.
Right.
Just forcing
thoughts.
Forcing your thoughts.
Yeah, programming, right?
Yeah. Man, you need to watch She-Ra, Princess of Power.
You're always, every episode you tell me a show to watch.
Yeah, because I'm like, that was like the best example to me for cartoons, because I watch cartoons all the time. That one was a good one because the person who was like trying to control everything, he was like the alpha one. I forgot his name, bro. But if you know who I'm talking about, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone, all his, like, I'm gonna quote them as slaves, were programmed like him. And if they got deprogrammed, they're like, oh my god, who am I? Oh my gosh, I got away from the program. Like, what's going on with me right now? I'm feeling things, like, what is going on?
Got you.
So, yeah.
They kind of depict that in Steven Universe, too.
They did.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm. I do know this story, and I believe it was the time when the settlers introduced diseases to the indigenous, of course, you dirty bitches, with blankets that had been contaminated with smallpox.
Absolutely.
Because they're dirty. And rude.
Did you know that this wiped out the indigenous population by 74% between the years of 1492 and 1800?
74%.
No, that isn't even the most surprising thing. To put this in today's relatable terms, in Gaza, roughly 2.3 million people were living there, and 42% of those are children, or to give the actual number, 966,000.
Mm-hmm.
Every hour in Gaza, 15 people are killed. 6 of those are children. Mm-hmm. 35 people are injured. 42 bombs are dropped. And 12 buildings are destroyed. To date, at least 40,405 people have been killed, including 16,500 children, and 10,000 that are missing. These missing are assumed to be dead under the rubble.
Damn. That's crazy.
I know.
Those numbers are, alarming. And imagine what is currently going on is hard to even, watch or discuss, to be fair.
Right.
What we want to drive home to you is that these Gaza numbers are actually only literally 18%.
That's right. And while it hasn't been a full year of devastation in Gaza, and the numbers from the utter massacre of the indigenous people was over the course of 308 years. However, using the same number of population from Gaza, which is 2.3 million, 74% of this population would have been 1,703,000 people killed, leaving 568,000 still living.
Sadly, the war is still continuing, and the numbers are just going up still, every day, right, on the hour.
And what's worse is that many of our tax dollars are funding this war. America continues to not only send money, but also weapons and ammunition.
And that's, on brand for us Americans.
Right.
We love that war.
Right. Unfortunately, while colonization is the brand of America, it doesn't make it any less wrong to be involved. Seeing as how we have historical references of our own that we have with lip service admitted to being wrong, our actions speak louder.
This is relevant to citizens here in the U.S. because people who are the minority here tend to look at our involvement in wars like these. That is, as this is how the U.S. would treat them.
Right, because this is to that as that is to this. You all remember those SAT prep questions, right?
Yes, because bitches are bitches.
So,
that is to this is that exactly. Now. Bitches are bitches.
Right.
That's what I got after that ACT
test. That's just like when Forrest Gump says life is like a box of chocolates.
No, yes.
You know.
Gosh, I got a burn mark on my motherfucking pen thing.
At least it's not lost.
Yeah. I mean, it's not on this actual pen. It's on I just saw it. I was like, anyways, sorry for interrupting.
So we went through the Gaza info just to put a picture on just how many Native Americans were killed by colonizers, but also take into account that colonizers were also raping their women and procreating actual people. So are these people white, or are they Native, or are they both?
To me, they're both. Like, you have to like represent both low key, because even in that time, yes, you would probably at that moment be like, I'm white because white people had the superiority at the time.
But could you choose? That's the thing.
I would not be able to choose.
Yeah, no, I mean, nobody, not you. Like, would the government, would people around you in society allow you to choose? They're basically.
It depends on your skin color.
That's going to be what that. Yep. That's exactly what would have happened.
If you're a more lighter tone, then they're like questioning it, but they're more accepting.
Right. We get into that more.
I get that.
I mean, we shouldn't get it. Like, it shouldn't even be a thing that we have to be like, oh yeah, I get that. But, you know, that's literally this is literally real. Like the fabric of our history in this nation.
Yes.
So as the colonials continued to expand, they continued in their newfound colonial techniques.
Colonizer techniques.
While there isn't another smallpox outbreak we are aware of in history of that magnitude, the colonists would continue to rape and procreate with other races.
Trigger warning.
This includes during the time of the slave trade.
The most notable being Thomas Jefferson, who fathered many children with an enslaved woman who he in fact owned, Sally Hemings.
Yes, it is known that they have had 6 children together.
Damn.
But what race will these children be considered? Are they white? Are they black? Are they something completely different? Have you ever heard of the one-drop rule?
I think I have, but I really don't remember that shit. Okay.
Okay.
It was probably in middle school, and I was just like, yeah, let's get this shit over with.
I really don't remember ever it coming across my history stuff was about the one-drop rule.
In Georgia.
Well, I could see how they would probably say more stuff in Georgia than they would when I was doing that stuff in Oklahoma.
In Georgia, they were talking about that shit for a long time. I was like,
they were like,
we don't need to talk about all the colonies.
These are all your classifications.
You don't need to talk about all these damn things. Anyway, I mean, we did, but damn.
Right, I feel you. Well, let's just dive in a little bit, shall we? The one-drop rule was started in Virginia in 1662. It has several names, in fact. The one black ancestor rule or the hypo-descendant rule. They're all the same thing. This is a legal doctrine that claims if anyone has any known African ancestry, they are to be considered black. It originated in the South during the heightened slave era in a way for white people to maintain white supremacy.
Okay, Jim Crow. But that's why they I don't want to get my DNA test, or then there's some I have 1% black. I got 1% black.
I mean, according to the one-drop rule, they'd be able to say it. But I mean, technically, it's not on the books, but it's just I feel like it's just enacted.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So, yeah, you mentioned Jim Crow. Jim Crow was much farther down the line than we are talking right now. But it was more a code of conduct for blacks to follow even after they were freed. What did happen was with the one-drop rule is all the ways to define a person's blackness from the ones that physically made the question even occur was baked into the Jim Crow era laws and codes.
So, saying that one-drop law or whatever is still an American law presently?
While I could give my personal opinion on the subject, there are actually 2 professors at Harvard, no less, that researched this and claims it is in fact present today. In fact, they concluded that there is a racial hierarchy that has persisted throughout history. First, of course, being whites, then Asians, Latinos, and blacks being the bottom of the hierarchy. Dang, why'd you say
I'm sorry,
like
because
that?
that's
You're
just,
like, that sounds about
that
right.
sounds about right to me. That's what they be
That's
teaching
how they act,
it,
right?
and that's how they be acting like they're above us.
Right.
But I'm like, we put you on game.
Like, let's stop
with
playing.
almost everything. So, please.
Right. So where this comes into play is the hypodescendant term. Remember that from earlier?
Yes.
What this actually means is that the lower class of your quote-unquote mixed heritage is what you are to be deemed or classified as. So if you have one verifiable person in your lineage of African descent, then by definition of the U.S., you are black.
That's facts.
That's facts.
That's why I don't put that shit on there no more.
Ricky Bobby? No, I was playing. I can actually see this rule coming back into play, however, this time to the benefit of white people currently here.
Yeah, because they are
always
like,
finding ways to do it.
They're always trying to find a way to be like, oh, you're an angry black woman, or you're a disgruntled angry black woman worker.
And they're like, oh, I'm 1%. I'm a disgruntled angry black woman too.
Yeah. No, I'm the one who started the BF.
Like,
okay, don't get it twisted.
Let's not play. But if we were ever in this country to get reparations from slavery, like ever, I'm pretty sure that white people will come out of the woodwork to claim their one drop of blackness. I mean, how many white people are barely anything percentage of Native American ancestry and taking advantage of the benefits that Native tribes have received?
Like, so fucking many. Like, when I was getting my little card and everything, I saw so motherfucking many. We were like,
right,
okay, y'all.
Exactly. I think actually, like, you have to 1/32nd or something shit like that.
Yeah.
1/32nd Native American.
I don't know.
That's so many generations back.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, and you see why. Like, they took away 74% of the freaking population.
I'm closer to the Native American generation in my family. You know what I mean? Like, with percentage of how much it is in my blood.
Right. Well, we'll talk about that too.
Anyway.
So, Agent K, you yourself have a few cultures in you. Can you tell us about those cultures, what you know about those cultures, and your experience just being you?
Too many experiences. Because that's why we're going to spark the blunt up on her ass. I am mixed with a couple things that I don't even know officially. Only a couple things that I do know officially, and then like a couple things that I don't know officially. So,
officially,
black, Native American, and white.
Dang, you said that hard.
I know. A cool whip.
Wheat thins.
Wheat thins, Brian. But I know Grandma said that we're like, I don't remember her name.
Belizean queen.
Okay. The Belizean queen.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're whatever she is. I don't know what she's mixed with.
I was going to talk about that. I'll talk about that part.
Yeah, you talk about that part. But whatever Grandma's mixed with. And then I know that we do, on my father's side, we have some Irish on that side too. And then we have...
Your last name is straight Irish.
Yeah, it is Irish. And I don't remember what else. But that's about it. I'm pretty sure.
Native American.
I said, oh yeah, I'm Cherokee. Like, that's my Native American tribe. What a tribe.
Oh my God.
I'm joking. And I don't know. So far, learning about certain things for that with like my Cherokee like tribe and everything is cool because it's colorful, and I can like use that in drawings. And
gotcha.
I think that's cool. I ain't never seen no dang Native American anime.
Ooh, that's a good...
exactly.
That would be actually really cool. So
Talk
what
your
about
shit.
what about your okay? So you talked about your native side
Yes.
and
The
learning
Jewish
about
side.
that.
Let's talk
Wait,
about.
wait! Before you do that, like Native Americans are often associated with powwows. Have you ever been to any powwows?
Only as a child. I want to go as I'm an adult now.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so fun. There's a lot of people, and I didn't know really how to act because, social anxiety and all.
I definitely went with you, even though I have no like native in me.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoy the drums very much. So
yes, it was fun.
No matter what them drums are doing, I always feel like I need to cry. I don't know why. Like it's like
They're
pushing
like
out
healing
tears.
your soul. It's a soul healing thing.
Yeah, it's a lot. And then I always feel just because I guess of I'm kind of sensitive about race because during my generation is when they start talking about it.
Right.
And about like being all mixed up and stuff like that. And so I don't ever want to just jump in the like dance line and be like, I'm doing this too. I'm doing this
Only
too.
if you're just doing like you're culturally appropriating it, you're not like mocking it. Like I don't think it's like.
I don't know. I feel like there's some like white. There's definitely some white people who like are like, I reject my like whiteness because it was fucked up what they did to the Native Americans, and then they'll start like going to powwows and they're dancing and the stuff, and Native Americans are talking mad shit about them, and they're not doing it like to culturally appropriate or to gain any benefits from what I can see.
Right.
But they're still like upset, so like because of that I never got into the dance line. Now if I ever start going to powwows and like some big mama like goes, go ahead baby or whatever,
right.
I mean I would be like, okay cool, they've accepted me
so
to be able to do this.
I bet you there's like classes.
And yeah, but would they want like non-native people doing it?
You never know.
I don't know. That was a weird
me and you together, we should learn the Cherokee language.
I'm not good at languages.
I just need someone to like bounce it off
stuff
of, and like, yeah, I can have the Kraken, but she's like,
yep.
And so I need someone who can also do it with me. Like,
okay, that'll be cool.
That's why I wanted you to help me. I also wanted you to learn Japanese with me because, like, you can just learn the kanji. I don't even like.
That's
you don't
the
even,
characters.
No, that's not the I mean, yeah, the characters, but not the hiragana or the katakana, but the like romaji, which is like.
You lost me at katakana.
I know. Those are the alphabets, the two alphabets of the Japanese thing, and then for the Japanese characters, okay? And then you have the Roman letters, right? Which is for us to read in American...
Us
Americans.
Westerners.
Yes. To read.
Yeah, you didn't think you were going to get a world history lesson, huh?
So... There you go.
Okay, we'll think about it.
The
Cherokee, I'm cool with. I don't want to add another language because I'm not good at learning language.
What about Italian then? Because that's close to Spanish. And I want to go to Italy.
Oh, I do too. Okay.
But I want to go knowing the language so we can eat a lot of food, like good places.
I want to find somebody's grandma and
that's
just
what I'm
attach
saying.
at the hip to them.
That's what I'm saying. We're going to find the good places to eat good food.
Yeah. I want to go to a place where they do the polenta on the table and then they just pour the sauce and all the other toppings on it, and you're just supposed to like get a plate and scoop it on your little plate and then all the whatever. No.
Oh, I was trying to
polenta.
Oh, what is that? I didn't know what you said.
Girl.
I was like,
you're like, I'm not eating placenta.
Did you see my face when I was looking? Because I was so confused. I was like, wait a minute. We're eating a placenta? I don't think I want to eat that.
No, not at all.
Okay,
see, that's what
that?
happens whenever we get out of script.
No, but what is that?
Polenta?
Mm-hmm.
So polenta is like really creamy grits like. It's not grits, but it's grits like, and then
I want it.
You can do a couple of different ways. They make a log out of it and you cut it and then they can fry it. It's just like
don't fry it.
Fried grits. A fried grit puck.
Ooh.
And then you
Okay.
put all kinds of
Like a
toppings on it.
pancake.
Like a puck.
Basically.
Like a crab cake, but just grit. And
like a potato latke basically, but
kinda.
but like with like
grits. Kinda. I mean, it's not really grits, but it's called polenta literally.
It's probably
but
pasta.
it's like that. So anyway, they can make it in family style. They make it really creamy, and they pour it on the table, and then they just put like sauce over it, and they put a bunch of toppings like different types of cheeses and other kinds of stuff. Whatever that they have, I don't know. I seen it on Food Network a long time ago.
That sounds good.
And then you go with like a plate and you scoop it up, and or people like if it's like your house and you're doing it, people just like dig their hands in it because we're the only culture that like is like
spoons and utensils.
Yeah.
I mean, like we're not the only culture, but we use forks and knives.
And we look down upon people. Well, unless you're in Georgia, because then it's illegal to eat chicken with a knife. Did you know that? With a fork and knife. Did you know that? It's
That's
like
a
one of
real
those.
law?
It's a real like one of those old laws that's still on the books.
That's a real law.
That's a real one. If like a dickhead cop really wanted to be an asshole, and you were eating chicken with a knife,
they're
and
like,
fork,
this is sacrilege.
Yeah. Our chicken falls off the bone. Why the hell are you using the utensil? God damn it, shit.
That's actually funny as fuck. If I got arrested for
I would. My mugshot would be like.
I would be cheesing like a motherfucker.
I'd be like, "What? I get arrested for?"
And then you see my background.
Nothing.
And my background saying I ate chicken with a fork and a knife, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
They would probably like. I think Ben Crump would probably take the case and get it thrown out. You know who Ben Crump is?
Yes, I do. All over the place.
All over the place. He'd be like, this is such an old law. Fucking racial shit.
That shit is funny.
I don't even know how he talks.
If you eat chicken with a fork and a knife, what the fuck?
I mean, fried chicken.
Fried chicken,
okay,
like,
but
with
like
bone in, like
but
with
like
the bone.
if you have like a breast and you're like cutting it with a fork and knife,
that's different.
Okay.
Back on track.
Okay, so follow-up question to you, Miss Agent K, is that when people ask you about your ethnicity or your nationality, what do you say?
I'm mixed.
That's what you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't... They'll ask what I'm mixed with. Oh, we can go
We'll talk about that on mine.
Yeah.
Because...
Yeah.
I can make it work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I tell them that, and then they ask me what I'm mixed with, and they're like, "Oh, Jewish?
Totally didn't see that.
Oh, Native American?
What?
Black?
You don't say.
And I'm like, and then Hispanic people think I am Hispanic because of my skin tone and the way I look. And I'm like,
I get that a lot too.
No español. Poquito.
Mucho
poquito. I only know the dirty words.
That's helpful a little bit.
It is, so I know if you talking shit about me.
You know burrito, nacho, taco.
But that is
you'd be able to eat.
I can eat. Hamburguese con queso.
Right. Lechuga y tomato. I know kitchen Spanish because I worked in a lot of kitchens.
Give me all the food.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Especially when there's like an older Mexican lady, they go make
That's
sure
what I was about to say. Older Mexican lady. Oh Lord Jesus.
Actually, when I was working at McDonald's, the freaking lady, I wish I had kept up with her contact information because she brought mole one time for her birthday, and that shit was fire. I was like, I want mole.
At Cracker Barrel, whenever I worked there, there was a lady who made the biscuits. I'll never forget her. Her biscuits were so good. They were so soft. Every time you opened it, it was just like
buttery, cloudy.
Oh my gosh, it was so
like, she
beautiful.
Put love into
I was like,
biscuit.
she loves us. Every time she makes these biscuits. And I was like, dang. We knew who made the biscuits that day.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say.
Be like, these ain't fluffy. It wasn't her.
They was flat these days. And then they was fluffy the next day. Anyway. What was your experience?
So,
with people asking you, like, what your race is? If they ask you, like, what, you know.
If they ask me what my race or ethnicity is, I give a little smirk, and then I say,
I'm gray.
I'm gray.
I knew you were going to fucking
stealing my thunder.
I'm sorry. I was like, I hope she's going to say something like, I'm mixed. No, she's like, I'm weird, and I'm going to say, I'm gray.
No, but that's the reason why I do that, and I talk about this later in here, too, but the reason why I do that is because it always makes people go, gray? What the? Like,
because if you mix black and white,
he makes gray.
It
We
makes
all
gray.
know that, right? From science class, from Crayola crayons.
not Creole crayons.
That's where I got it
It was
from.
from art class with
From-
the paints
and that
and stuff.
too?
Because you got to,
Yes.
they were like, so mix this color and this color
And you're
together.
like, ooh.
And you're like, oh, that's pink. And that
Ah.
one. Oh, this one orange. That
Ooh.
one burnt orange.
Burnt So,
That one's brown.
it always stokes a conversation is why I say that. But actually in doing research, that's actually a slur that they used to use.
What?
Gray.
Oh, shit.
So I was like, dang.
They
They
used
done-
everything.
I know, I was like, they
I can't
abolished
take
abolished
anything.
that, and I done brought it back trying to be jovial.
Right.
And like,
And you
the-
go look at the history
I'm like,
and you're
oh
like,
shit, I'm just calling myself a slur.
you're like,
I guess people.
I'm clever.
Right. That's exactly what I thought.
And they were like,
That was for my.
snatch that away.
That was for like all my racist ancestors that were part of my like ancestry line. They were like, "Oh, we got them.
We foiled them again.
Foiled them again. They thought they was funny.
That shit was funny in the ancestry line. Slapping my knee.
Oh my gosh. That's horrible.
Anyway.
They're gonna be like, we can't air this.
This is supposed to be controversial.
Right, okay.
It's already a controversial topic because people don't want to talk about being biracial.
Right. So.
Or they're just confused.
I have 43 years of experience of being biracial. And it is kind of weird. So I grew up in a household of my mother, who we called the Belizean Queen because she is from Belize.
Belize.
At that time when she was living there, she says it was
Honduras.
It was British Honduras. And then I guess they established their independence later. And
I swear that woman knows his Spanish.
at that time, she said that it wasn't like Hispanic in nature. So my mom doesn't know any Espanol.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if I meet anybody from Belize, the first thing they do is try to talk to me in Spanish. And then they go, you're faking.
That's what I'm saying.
And so, there's that interesting aspect, right? Because mom's not just like, she's not just like American black or whatnot. Like she did come here to America when she was 16, probably in the height of like the civil rights stuff, to be real. And where she would have been located at is really not too far away from like Oakland, in the heart of like where the majority of the shit went down. I think she was alive during Huey P. Newton. You know what I'm saying? Who was not that far away from when we went to Porterville.
Okay, yeah.
It's not that far away from Oakland, to be real.
Dang.
So,
Could've took a little trip to
oh man, we already took 17 side quests.
Next time
we were running out of funds.
We go into Oakland.
Excuse me. Okay, so there's that aspect. My Faja, GP Ev, he is a Jewish white male, obviously, and he also wasn't there like every single day of my life. So it wasn't like, oh look, both of your parents are present in upbringing you. Like I got to see my dad on good years twice a year. On not so good years, which became more of the norm, once a year.
Literally one time a year.
And any time that I've asked about my heritage with him when I was younger, he would always say, "You're opening up a can of worms, kid." And he would never talk about it. But what he did give me was tools to learn how to read Hebrew. And then he gave me a complete Hebrew Pentateuch, which is the first 5 books of the Bible, where it's like Hebrew on this side and English on this side.
Dang.
Which is kind of interesting. I don't remember all the Hebrew that I used to back then, and I didn't know any actual words or could speak conversation, but I could like be like, oh, that means that means that, that means that. Ooh, I know a few, just like how I do with etymology now.
Yeah.
Okay. So
that's crazy.
And then, so my mom is my black side, and that's because in Belize they were that, but her dad was actually Irish. She's the only super duper light skin in her whole entire family.
Yes.
So even though mom will not confirm this, and she probably doesn't even know, but I personally think that the Irishmen colonized my grandmother. We'll say it like that.
Yeah.
And out came my mom.
Right.
And you know, we don't do no, our culture does, if you're like part of the family, you're part of the family. Like we don't do no like, hey, you're different, you're the light skin.
Yeah, no.
Or anything like that.
They're like, what do you want?
Yeah, exactly.
We do matching outfits and everything.
So what brought my mom to America is that she was being raised by my great grandmother, who's actually where my middle name comes from. And there was a hurricane, and she died in the hurricane. So now there's 2 minors, basically, in Belize by themselves. And I think that, if I'm not mistaken, mom used to say that she worked in the governor's mansion.
Yeah, she did.
Which is why she's like
so
particular about everything. But I get it.
Bed.
But I really wish that she would have passed along that instead of like shamed me for how I was doing it and just taught me how to do it.
Being like, hey, this is what happened in my life.
And
like gave me a story.
Yeah, mom doesn't do that about anything. So I always have to piece pieces together.
Yes.
Which actually doesn't serve me, because as an adult, what happens is you start putting stories together that aren't really there. And then you're like, oh, okay, so that's not what happened. But my mind went like completely left fucking field. Anyway, so I also had an older sister, right? Who was the product of when mom came to America, and like the families that were around in this little like area of basically where they used to just be able to claim land and be like, yep, this is my spot, because that's just how it was back then. Like,
I fucking wish.
I know, me too. And the crazy thing is that they had that spot, and then like the dad, or not the dad, but it's not my mom's dad, but it's like everybody else younger than her's dad. I think sold the property up under my grandma, like without her knowing.
Damn.
And I was like, that's fucked up, because we could have still had that.
We could have been in California. Like I said.
Yeah. Anyway.
You think I'm playing.
So, so that's my mom's side of the family. So, from being out there, the families that were out there, my mom had her first child, her favorite. This is new.
Not her favorite.
Her unconfirmed favorite. Like, she'll never be like, that's my favorite, but we all know.
It's funny because you and Nunu be saying the same thing about that.
I know. She says that. I don't understand that.
Y'all be saying the same thing to me all the time.
That's crazy. I don't understand that, how she feels like I'm the favorite. because the only way that I could see that is if she feels like, because Belize and Queen spends a lot of money on me. But, like, she be trying...
spend a lot of money on everybody.
Exactly.
Like,
that's just the way that she...
That's the way that she chose love.
Exactly. Well, it used to be cooking.
It used to be cooking.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm tired
now
of
she's
cooking.
retired, and so she's
like,
cooking.
now I want you to cook
right.
for me.
She just called me out the other day about cooking for her, too. Anyway, okay, so my older sister, obviously we have two different dads. She is of darker complexion. I am of lighter complexion.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was growing up, I never saw it like that. I just thought I was as dark as everybody else that I was surrounded by, because that's the community I was around until like people started calling reference to it.
Right.
When we started going to church, no less. I was never approached with it before going to church.
Not at
That's
church.
kind of telling, right?
Yes.
But we were going to an all black church, so it was like me and like one other family that had like the dad was black and the mom was white, so a whole set of mixed kids. No, two other families, my bad, that were a bunch of mixed kids, and so it was like, hey, this is my sister, much darker than me, like, and they're like, there's no way that you guys are sisters.
Bro, that's how. Yes. No. Yes.
You know what I mean? And I was like, what are you talking about? That's my sister.
Yes.
Like, I'll fight you.
No,
that's the type of kid I was.
That was me too. Oh my gosh.
So, that has also compounded because in California, it really wasn't an issue. I don't think, the only time I was ever like, in California that race ever came up, other than that moment in church, was like, this beach town that I grew up in. We had a black student come into our class, predominantly white. I was the dot. And then we had a bunch of like Mexican students as well. And this guy came in, he was super, super dark. And like the class bully, I can call his name, but I'm not gonna do that. That's ridiculous. I remember his name. We was bullying him. And I was like, yeah, basically, I was like, no, you're not going to do that. We don't, like, this messed up. You want to do that, you're going to do it to me, too. Or whatever the hell I said.
Why did you sound like your snot-nosed kid?
Because that's what I was. And I think I was in karate at the time, too. So,
okay.
You know, everybody was Power Rangered out. You know what I'm saying? I had to do my Ninja Turtle shit.
Oh my gosh.
And
it was Master.
I was trying to get the
Shredder.
glow.
Was that his name, Shredder?
Shredder was the rat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Master Shredder there?
No.
You said you had to be Ninja Turtle. No.
No, Master Splinter. Shredder was the
That's
villain.
what I was trying to figure out.
Okay, anyway.
Splinter.
So from...
The fans are like... Or the watchers, not fans. The watchers are like, how are we going to make a reference and not understand the reference?
I'm high, man. Okay.
Shut up.
So, anyway, okay, fast forward. So, after that whole incident, I was kind of like BMOC, the BWOC, the big woman on campus. So,
gosh.
Anyway, I never had this issue come up again at all through the rest of my days in California. Then we come to damn Oklahoma. Man.
Yeah.
When I came to Oklahoma, first of all, there was nothing out here that there is now. Not nothing. Most of the stuff, the bridge that we crossed wasn't here. It was the other one that's the pedestrian bridge now. Like the Riverwalk was not here. It wasn't nothing. There was nothing. Jinx damn sure didn't have nothing.
Dang.
It was not nothing. And anyway, I was approached with race like first day at school. That was the crazy thing to me.
Not first day at school.
Yeah, no, first day at school. And I was like, and I was from California, so I already had like a different like
outlook on it.
Not only that, but like my first day of school, I wore a flannel shirt,
shit.
long sleeves, with some overalls and some combat boots, I believe. And it was hot
Sounds like
as hell.
I was about to ask, was it hot as shit?
Hot, scorching. And
know
I
it was
was not
hot.
prepared. So that I was already ticked off at that. Then somebody on the bus wanted to make a big scene because I was from California, so they had to prove how hard they was by trying to be all like, "I'm gonna fight you, light skinned. I'm gonna fight you." And I never understood why. Like, the girl had no reason to not like me, and she just literally just wanted to pick a fight.
Wow. That's crazy.
I know. And like, so that was first day of school. Second day of school, she literally got off the bus.
So she did nothing.
No, she got off the bus with me.
Oh.
And like, everybody circled around me.
Okay.
And I did my little Power Rangers move. I sidestepped
like,
her. I sidestepped her and kicked her. Wah!
Damn.
Like that. And she like doubled over. And that was the end of that. And I just walked home. After that, I was done. And then everybody was talking about it the next day after that. And she tried me again.
she was stupid.
And then she got pulled into the office. But some kind of way I scathed away. And I actually attribute that to my white patriarchy.
Damn.
That's what many would call as passing. So that's not my first incident with that. That was probably my first incident with that. But after that, I became an absolute loner. And so I
don't fuck with chronic queen.
And then we switched schools, and I think by that time I was pretty well like.
Oh, that's what...
Yeah.
Okay.
So and then after high school, I had a really like conservative upbringing. And so my like outlook during high school was like really sheltered. And then
you like Penny on Hairspray.
Which one is Penny?
The mom who was like praying and...
No, that was Belizean Queen.
No, like, yeah, I know.
Oh, and then I was out there hanging out with the black kids. Oh my god. Hell no.
That was you.
Wow. Anyway. So, after I got into like college, even though I like desperately did not want to go from like high school to like community college or whatever. But once I started actually the two classes that were probably the most transformative for me, it was like art appreciation and music appreciation, and also with the American history in college, like all of that together, because like it kind of rounds a perspective. Like art always reflects whatever was going on at the time. So like and sometimes that's their protest, was the art that they were creating, and things like that. And so
just like all the Shakespeare and stuff.
And mythology.
Yeah, and mythology.
That also opened a big eye opener for me. And then after that, right, I was like, F Oklahoma, I'm going to Georgia. And I like that. Okay, do you remember that TikTok where the guy was like, this is what it's like to go on your spiritual journey, and you're holding like your
he's like, ready?
Ready? And he's like, it's gonna be real fast, come on.
Yeah, that's what that was.
That's what Georgia was like. It was like getting dunked and like on the washboard about like everything that you had already learned.
That's crazy.
It was like
SpongeBob having the suds,
or like
he was like
Neo
sick
in the Matrix when he was like, I'm gonna take the red
pill. Yeah.
And then he went through like all that whole rebirthing. I'm not like I was rebirthed or anything like that, but I was just exposed to a lot more culture there. And because I actually spent a time frame being homeless and next to a lot of people that I probably wouldn't have ever been next to before, I got an opportunity to talk to them, and then they shared with me their knowledge, and like I feel like all knowledge is good knowledge. Yeah. And so anyway,
remember on Avatar: The Last Airbender, that owl dude.
Oh, I'm not aggressive like that.
No, but he had that whole library
Yeah,
of knowledge,
I mean,
and he
I
was
feel-
always like, knowledge is power.
I mean, yeah, it
And
is.
he was like, a firebender came in here and took knowledge to
And
attack the water nation.
and burnt. Oh, got it. Which is why they were like, you can't take anything.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's almost as bad as book burning.
It is.
So in Georgia, I also experienced a lot of freaking racism. But I mean,
Oh my
now I see
gosh.
why. Like, look at all the stuff
Yes.
that happened there, and like I do remember being in some cities and looking down at like the sewer drain,
Mhm.
and it says like the year that the city was established,
Mhm.
and it was before slavery, and I started crying. I was like, "Oh, man, this goddamn slave
Oh my
town!
gosh.
Here, slave, and I can't get out this motherfucker. How the hell did I get bamboozled into this shit?" I was
Oh my
angry.
gosh.
Look, I have tears right now, like reliving this moment.
No, I get
I
it.
literally like felt like I was sucked like a Spike Lee moment into Roots. That's what I felt.
That
like
needs to be
being
a
there.
movie.
Like
Man.
a Get Out version of Roots. Sounds like a
Ooh.
really crazy series.
That would be a
Jordan
crazy-
Peele. Jordan Peele.
Like,
I have an idea for you.
please.
I
That'd
hate
be-
that damn town.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
So, let me tag in real quick
Yes.
for the Georgia thing.
Georgia.
I did experience racism. Like, it was like
Racism.
quiet racism because I was a child. And like I looked black, right?
Enough.
Yeah. But they're just like, no.
You too.
You're
That's what.
too-
Okay, that's exactly
you're
what I
too light-skinned.
experienced too.
And then when you hang out with the white kids, right?
Yep.
They're like, you're cool, but
You're too black.
you're too black, basically. Like, I have
Yeah.
too much spicy for
Right.
being hanging out with the white kids,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Because they're a little plain. Not all of them. Some of them.
So in the working environment,
So I hang out with the weirdos.
I also had that same experience
In the work environment?
in the work environment
Mm.
because okay, I worked in kitchens.
Yeah.
In kitchens, you're gonna get mostly
Mm-hmm.
Hispanics and
Yes.
blacks.
Yeah.
The managers are white.
Yeah.
And like so when they see me,
Mm-hmm.
the Mexicans are immediately like, "Hey, gracias, mi
All the
amiga."
time.
And I'm like, "Ni no habla inglés." Oh, well, my name is so. You know what I mean?
My name is Mike.
So, and then like
and
that's how I learned all the
I am your kitchen manager.
And
that's
that's-
literally how it is, Mom.
that's how I learned all the kitchen Spanish, and because I was able to keep up,
It's hard.
they liked me. Well, the managers, the managers always I was cool with because I was learning something new. I always like learning new things, so of course I became like really good, and then people like me. People like me. I don't know what to say. And
Just flexing.
then the black people on the line would always look at me like, we don't know if we should trust her.
Yeah.
You too light skin. You're part of you're infiltrating like
With
from
the Mexicans.
or from the managers, the white people. You know what I mean?
And the white people.
And
the
stuff
white
like that. So
managers.
they look at me and they're like, I bet you
Goody
don't know how to make
two-shoes.
Kool-Aid.
Oh,
I bet you know what I'm
you're
saying?
not spicy.
Yeah. So then I
I'm
had
only
to prove
saying
it.
spicy because...
I had to prove my spice level
Yeah.
because my mom is Belizean Queen.
Belizean Queen.
I had a lot of spice in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So made Kool-Aid. That was level 1.
What was the next thing?
The next thing was when, we start having heavy topics on the line, like on a slow night or
Mhm.
whatever. And my perspective came out sounding more like Angela Davis.
Mm-hmm.
And then they couldn't deny it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there's such thing that a lot of people call the black tax, where you have to work twice as hard to get half the credit.
All the time.
And then if you're biracial, then you
gotta
have to do that
thrice.
for your people, for like the black people, because we already talked about the 1 drop rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also for the white people.
Even for the Hispanics.
Yep, even for the Hispanics, you're right.
And Asian people, they be like...
Right.
You can't see me, but the, like, head tilt. Like, what the fuck are you?
What the fuck are you?
What the fuck are you?
Yeah, basically.
Because I've gotten that a lot.
Well, you've always said that you're a chameleon.
I am a chameleon.
Fit in
I
with
can
everybody's
fit in
family.
with anyone's family.
So,
People will
and
think that I am...
You've actually tested that. I think that we should go to an event sometime and then just randomly have you take pictures with families.
I need to photobomb people's family photos.
And then be like, look, I can fit in all these.
I promise you, I literally can fit.
We'd probably get in trouble for doing that because people would have to like sign off consent or something.
I'd be like, look,
but
I'm testing this experiment to see if I can fit into everyone's family as a chameleon.
Right.
Because I am biracial.
Right. It's actually proven to we've seen it in action. I've
seen this in action because everyone thinks I am somebody else's child.
Right.
And I'm like,
always trying to give you away.
No. That is not my mother. So, anyway, I feel like even though we are two different generations, we have very similar experiences with
stuff.
The shit.
Yeah, very much so. While the only race of people who have ever been defined by what other people say about them is the black people in America, in fact, no other country has ever attempted to define what counts for another race. But the fact of the matter is that we see those other mixed races and how they are treated. We see them and identify with their struggle.
No one's ever bullied a fucking white kid in my generation.
In your presence.
In my presence.
Because of I think it's because of the school that you went to be honest. Because I feel like I wanted to go to the black magnet school.
Yeah.
And like I don't necessarily know what my experience would have been like, but there were white people going there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Know.
And so like
they had flavor.
Yeah, right. Yeah, especially if they were in the band or whatever.
Yes.
I was jelly of those.
I was too. Because I know their choir was amazing.
I don't even know.
I do.
So the reason why I chose this topic today is because of how deeply offended I was when not only Trump started spewing divisive rhetoric, but when it became a mainstream thing to say that someone who has parents of two separate races can only be one. The fact is they are both. It is a possibility and not even a novel idea. It has literally been a thing since the inception of this nation.
Like, literally the birth of this
yeah,
nation.
Literally the birth of this nation is biracial. Biraciality.
Come on, colonizers.
Yeah, for real.
Did you forget?
What did you think
Did
was
you forget
happen?
what you did? I mean, maybe you did forget what you did because it didn't affect you.
Right. No, they're trying to like polish it up and make it pretty.
You're not pretty.
No, you're not. Okay, so
I'm kidding.
We can go a step further.
I'm not kidding.
Like the actions and what you're and the attitude and all that. That's not pretty.
That's not pretty.
We can go a step further as well. So Kamala Harris was an Indian from India mother. India was colonized by Britain in 1757.
Mm-hmm.
And you can guess what actions they took to those there.
Mm-hmm.
India established their independence from Britain in 1942.
Mm-hmm.
So it hasn't even been a full 100 years yet.
That's crazy.
When you think about it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got another one for you.
Mm-hmm.
Kamala Harris has a Jamaican father.
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica was colonized by the British from 1655 until they gained their independence in 1962. 1962.
Well, that means Belizean Queen was alive then.
Yes, but she was 10.
That's crazy.
She was 10.
Oh my gosh.
And that means that her father was still alive during.
Oh my gosh.
This colonization. Okay, so that means that Kamala Harris' father was still alive and probably still in Jamaica at the time. I have no idea.
Right.
When his homeland was still a British colony. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so he's a naturalized citizen in America.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which makes him an American.
Yes.
Okay, and on her birth certificate, he chose to put, because at that time you could self-identify, meaning you could write in what you were.
Mm-hmm.
He self-identified as a Jamaican,
Right.
and so they're like, "See, she's not black." But it's been well documented in census data that
He's
Jamaicans are also Black Americans.
Yes.
Because you have to understand, at that time what they did was they stole the Africans, they took them to the Caribbean to train them how to be slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Then they moved them back up the coast
Mm-hmm.
so that they could do cotton, tobacco, and
other stuff. And then
so
move
same
on to
experience.
other ones.
So
okay, wait. So that means that Fran was
mm-hmm.
alive.
Mm-hmm.
Not during
for a lot of this.
A lot of this.
Yes.
Okay, so Maxwell.
Yes.
Was also alive for that shit too.
Yeah, and Belizean Queen's mom, which I don't even know what to call her. We'll call her Opal.
Yeah, that's what we said the last time.
Okay.
Oh, that's hilarious. Opal.
Yeah, I mean, they were alive in the 20s. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That means flapping.
I think Fran was the 30s, but you know, she married up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
anyway.
Yeah, no, there's a lot that was going, like, that was when times were really progressive.
Yeah.
Like they were just like
in the 1920s women were doing a whole bunch of shit.
Because they were fighting for their rights.
Yeah, exactly.
So
they did what they wanted.
They were fighting for their rights. Black people were still being segregated against, even though it was passed that you shouldn't be doing that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And all kinds of stuff was going on. Like, it was and this is like sometimes the times I'm like trying to figure out what decade age range that like these MAGA people are trying to freaking bring us back to.
Like, for real. Because where are we going?
Yeah, for real. They're like, make us great again.
Are y'all all having dementia?
I think that they are.
Because we need to get y'all old asses out of here then.
Right, which is actually why a lot of things are turning right now. The young vote is having a really big difference.
Yes,
so
because
if you guys find this interesting, like at all, like I hope that it you know,
like, glad you're here still.
Yeah, not only glad you're here still or whatever, but like you know, I encourage young people to go vote and
be informed,
and not only be informed, but like, hey, have a hand in shaping like the future.
Yeah, because. Hell no.
You start paying a little bit more attention when you actually vote. You'd be like, well, that shit didn't happen.
Also getting out of your box.
Yeah.
Like, not trying to sway your vote or whatever. But
no, I mean, this is just to clear the air. I'm not choosing one way or another.
Yeah.
I don't understand a lot of this shit that, like, I just don't understand.
Right.
But, anyway, it is also of note that on Kamala Harris' birth certificate, it lists her mother as Caucasian. While we may currently look at Caucasian and say white, it hasn't always been that way.
What?
I know, as bizarre as it sounds, anthropologically, Asian Indians, which is like from India Indians,
yes,
are classified as white. However, some definitions of white only consider European Anglos to be considered white.
Yes.
And on the 1970 census, the U.S. allowed for self-identification, which means you could write in whatever you were. So if her mom is, what do they call it?
Caucasian.
Asian Indian, then, and she self-identified as Caucasian, that was something that she could self-identify as at that time.
Yeah.
So.
But she's from
India.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. That's cool. Which of people of color who were what we call passing,
right,
or better put, could pass as white, could choose to identify as white, thinking it would give them some sort of economic or societal advantage. But often it did not.
Right.
Because, you know, they found out and they're like, what?
Right. We've been bamboozled. And the only reason we bring this up is, one, So we all realize it wasn't all that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
And two, to show that colonizers created being biracial and then had no plan. So when a person who was multiple races, has multiple races within them, is standing before you, remember how these multiple races happened in the first place. And ask the person that you're looking at and not reference a newspaper. The writer of the newspaper article in question was highlighting a race that hadn't been in the Senate roll, but a black person already had. So logically, the writer would have stated that Kamala was Indian and the first one at that. It was a Washington Post article, like whenever that she held a Senate seat.
Okay.
When she first got the Senate seat.
Okay. Facts. Fat facts. Big facts. Because, there's not a lot of people who are claiming Indian American on the stand one.
Right.
By the way. So where do terms like mulatto and Creole come from? We both have been called these terms loosely, very.
Right.
And I'm curious as to where they come from.
Fascinating
With y'all loose
question.
mouths.
Okay,
I'm
so
joking.
in fact, I wasn't sure we were going to get here. But I'm glad that we did.
No, for real.
While the list I am going to go over by all means, I'm sure is not exhaustive, and keep in mind that these terms have been deemed as offensive from the groups of people in which they were inflicted. But in the name of education, here we go. So mulatto is referred to people of mixed African and European ancestry, or in Louisiana, it is specifically half African ancestry and half European ancestry. This term is still used in Latin America because it's a Spanish term, technically.
Yeah.
As an example, this is the offspring of, say, an Anglo slave master and an African slave. This is how you would achieve a 50-50 mix.
Damn. Okay. Facts.
Okay. So the next one is a quadroon.
I don't like that.
Okay, so this is referred to people of a quarter African ancestry and 3/4 European ancestry. An example of this is the offspring of a mulatto, as referenced earlier as 50-50, and an Anglo-European person, of which I believe this would be my own personal actual mix if we were looking just at by my mother and my father, because thinking that my mom is half, right? That makes me 3/4 part European and 1/4 part African ancestry. Yeah. So I would have been a quadroon. Mm-hmm. I would have hated being walking through the street and somebody would be like, "You quadroon? Get the hell out of my store!
Get out of my quarters, you quadroon.
You're not allowed here, quadroon."
What? What would I be?
Okay, that's the next one. The next one is a grife.
Oh,
I don't even know if it's a griff or a grife, but it's referred to, it's spelled Griffe. Drife. Strife. No, I'm playing. Referred to people of 1/4 European ancestry and 3/4 African ancestry. An example of this is the exact opposite of what the above example was. So it would be a mulatto and an African person's offspring, which is what I would say my children would have been referred to.
That's a rough ass fucking name.
Yeah, you grife. Okay, so another one is a mestizo.
That is rough too.
This is a Spanish term too. This is just a general term for quote unquote mixed people and commonly referred to among indigenous Americans and European ancestry.
Okay.
An example of this would be Pocahontas and John Smith offspring.
I didn't read the rest of the sentence. All I saw was Pocahontas. And then I read the rest of it as you were reading it. And I was like...
But I had to put it where people could understand.
Yes.
So there you go. Okay, so the next one is a pardo, which quite literally means brown people.
Okay.
And is often used to describe African and European ancestry, like just a mixed... You're just pardo.
Right.
Interesting.
You just part brown.
Yeah.
Got it.
Interesting to note that in Venezuela, this is used to describe people mixed with African, European, and indigenous ancestry, like all three, the trifecta. Right?
Damn.
An example of this.
that would be me.
Right. An example of this is quite literally the majority of people in America to date. I'm willing to risk all of my credibility to say that the majority of people in the U.S. are some percentage of a mix of all these three ancestries.
You're absolutely right.
The next one is Zambo.
What the fuck?
This is any mix of African and indigenous ancestry.
That is a
Zambo.
Rambo.
Zambo.
Rambo.
So like Zimbabwe. I don't know. That
is crazy.
The first thing that I could think of when reading this cultural mix is Aboriginals.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably, I think that would be probably a good example of what they mean by that.
Okay.
And then the next one is half-breed. I know we've all heard that one. Historically, this is a term for people of partial Native American ancestry. Yeah. And I can personally verify that creep into any ancestry mixed with Europeans is what has been accepted in society. So, like, if you're Native American and European at all, you're considered a half-breed. That's historically what it is.
Yeah.
So, like, now that we're here in 2024, right?
It's like
anybody who's like mixed with anything, it's like you're a half-breed.
Yeah.
I've definitely
And they
heard
do
that
a
before.
lot in Japan, by the way.
Yeah, because they're trying to keep their blood pure up there.
There's a lot of biracial children who are mixed with like Nigerian or no, like I'm so serious. Yes, there's so many up there in Japan, and they're like, there's people there who are like, you're not Japanese.
And he's like, dude.
She's like, I'm born here, raised here, know the whole language. Like,
yeah, well, I think that they're like Japanese people think of Japanese as an ethnicity instead of like I was born here
instead of a culture
or like a location.
Yes,
you know, like
or a location. Yeah, because there's a whole bunch of people who have been born in Japan.
Because if you're from there, you're Japanese, but your ethnicity is like you're Nigerian and something else. Japanese.
Like,
so
you can be, like.
But that's exactly what we're talking about here. It could go with like literally anything.
Yes.
We're just talking about from the American perspective because it's coming up in American politics. Also with the half-breed, a good example of this would be Leonardo DiCaprio's son in the movie The Revenant. You know, the one where the bear like fucked him up.
I've seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No, I have seen it, but I haven't seen it like now.
Like
that I'm older.
Man, I just can't forget the bear attacking Leonardo DiCaprio on the face. He fucking like
makes me forget. I mean, Nunu makes me forget all the good scenes because she's like about everything.
I mean, it was pretty intense of a scene, so I get it. But like the fact that he lived after that, and then they like on his journey to like getting past that, they killed his half-breed son.
Damn.
And everything else, so they didn't have a good time either. And the last one that I have here is Mestee, M-E-S-T-E-E.
Sounds like
messy.
some French.
Oh, I think you're right. This used to be a popular term, but now is mainly used for members of historically mixed race groups like Louisiana Creoles.
Has to be French.
French
word, Mestee.
Yeah, Mestee. It sounds like a superhero.
It's a French word. French superhero name.
Monsieur mon ami.
They have to be mixed.
And I'm pretty sure that this doesn't even scratch the surface of like the amount of names that people of any mixed ancestry, due to the one drop rule, anyone with African ancestry was called a nigger.
With the hard R.
Yeah, with the hard R. Also, I like to tell people I'm gray when asked, which we talked about earlier.
Yes.
And I do it only because it sparks the conversation instead of doubling down on a perception that they already carry.
Right.
But in doing the research, grays were definitely something that us mulattoes and quadroons were also called
because of color.
and here I thought I was being original. It's exactly what you.
That's
so
funny.
See, I was being
You were
authentic. I was thinking
Everyone
in your voice.
thinks they're so creative.
Okay.
But where do crows fit in?
Crows. Creoles.
Sorry. I keep thinking about Marvel.
Crow from freaking Ruby.
No.
Where do the crows fit in?
I was thinking about Marvel.
Wow.
Where do the Creoles, is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fit into these racial identities?
Okay, this is a lot of information.
This is the longest one I've seen.
So, I'm sorry, but see, it says another can of worms.
Opening.
The people need to know. Inquiring minds want to know, right?
Yeah. Inquiring minds.
Right.
Okay. Right.
So the first thing is that Creole is specific to Louisiana. This was run by the French, who also had colonies in Haiti and other places in the West Indies.
Yes.
The way the French treated their slaves versus how we are more aware of how the British treated their slaves is vastly different. In fact, they had a code on how to treat slaves called the Le Code Noir.
The black code?
Yep.
Hell to the knot.
See, and this code still lives on today. I'm just playing. The black code has changed over the years, okay? This code book spelled out the rights.
My high ass.
The black code.
I read that. I was like, wait a minute.
This is Undercover Brother. Code book number 1. Okay. This code book spelled out the rights to the slaves. That's crazy to even say. That rolled off my tongue. The slaves there were recognized as partisans, which allowed them rights that the masses of the population were required to respect, no matter how they felt about it. They had to be, in order to be considered Creole, they had to basically go through all these hoops, right? So they had to be baptized into the Catholic faith and couldn't be denied the right to French, go to church. Right?
Yeah, okay.
Here are the bigger ones too. If they were married, they couldn't be separated like if they were trying to be sold. So if they had to sell them together. And if they had children, they could also not be sold apart. It was like a complete deal.
Yeah.
That was the most conservative
that is
value ever, and they even applied it to their slaves.
That's crazy.
Le Code Noir.
Le Code Noir.
Okay, so
that is crazy. What the hell?
I know, right? I never heard about this in history
class.
I
never heard that in history class at all.
No, they didn't. Well, I mean, I guess technically because we are a British colony, so why would they share French information?
Yeah, that's true.
So,
they only touched on it
they were just so the French owned all this land, and then we obtained it in the Louisiana Purchase. Them dum-dums. Ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, basically.
That's basically how they talk about
Imagine if America was French.
Right. I don't know. But also, don't forget that that's also the ones that was let them eat cake.
So actually...
That was the French.
That was the French, but did you know that was just a term from her whenever she was a child, and they would just use that? She didn't even say that.
I don't know. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I looked that up.
Because I still use it to this day. I was like, you're still fucking trying to make us eat fucking cake? No. So in Louisiana, it was even more progressive than that. If a Negro mother... were to had a child with the master, he was required to marry her and free her and her child.
Well,
that's
interesting,
right? So it actually held them accountable. They couldn't just
hide that shit,
and they couldn't just continually just rape and pillage and yucking. I was like, whoa. When I was doing this research, I was like, I ain't never heard this ever in life.
Me neither. Not even in whenever we're in Georgia,
and
and
that's
they're like
right
close.
next door. But that was also part of the whole thing. Like Louisiana had like all the, you know, if anybody ever traveled, remember on Django when Django like came through the plantation, and they was like, why is you on a horse?
Yes.
And he's like, I was free, and they was like,
you can be a free nigga.
Exactly. It was, and that was like the seed that planted like, this is what freedom looks like ooh, I can ride a horse. And then like, ooh, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Do you remember that movie with Keke Palmer, and she was like,
yes. What
was the name of it?
I don't know.
I know. It's
Alice.
Like,
it was Alice.
Yeah,
something.
Alice.
Okay.
Alice. It was a cool take.
It was a cool take on
like an Alice in Wonderland in a way.
Yeah, but it was also like very M. Night Shyamalan kind of esque, but it wasn't him who did it, but it was like that, or was it? I don't know.
I think it was somebody who knew Jordan Peele.
Oh, gotcha.
It was her movie.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But I was like, I love this. This is a great take. They did a good job.
They did do a good job.
Anyway.
So here in Louisiana at this time, there was a path forward to where freed people of color were able to purchase their families still in bondage and free them in this way.
Yep.
So racial barriers in Louisiana were mostly non-existent, with the stark difference, was a stark difference from how the British ran colonies directly next to them. Just like how we were talking about how different Georgia is from Louisiana.
Right.
This new community of freed people of color were called Creoles, or Creoles of color.
When you said the difference between British colonies and everything, because I thought of like, what's her name, Meghan Merkel or something? Is she the one who?
Oh yeah, with
Prince
Henry.
Harry.
Wow. I've been looking at history, y'all.
Okay. They didn't like that. Right. She was mixed.
Yeah, well, just because she was on the darker side. If she was a
she
Creole,
was she's not even that dark.
But
bro.
if she was more like Creole, because if you look at like anybody who's light skinned or what they call red bone,
like
anybody's like, oh, you Creole,
yeah.
Oh, I have it double worse because my original last name is French, so they you Creole.
They always ask that.
There's no. I don't think that there is. I mean, I wouldn't put it past it because I did do like a name search, and like that, our last name is very popular in Louisiana.
Yeah, it is.
So I was like, "Whoa, that's crazy."
They also asked that, in Belize. Did you know that?
Yes. Yeah. And that is the name of the governor, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my god!
The last time I looked.
That's crazy.
And that was a while ago though, so I might need to look that information up. But if I'm not mistaken, the governor of Belize is a Renault.
That's crazy.
That's what I said. Okay. So
we related.
It's important to note that later on, after the Louisiana Purchase, the racial barriers in Louisiana shifted. Creoles of color were allowed certain rights over freedmen, such as education, civil rights, and language. During the Reconstruction era, that's after the Emancipation Proclamation, Creoles of color were given a better education, which led them to playing more of a role in the political spectrum. And often, they worked to help freedmen obtain political roles as well.
So they were trying to spread the good word.
Yeah,
basically.
And not only that, but a voice.
Right? Give them ways to help this not be racist no more, segregated no more, none of this no more.
Actually, that's a good point, because Creoles also have a unique advantage of being in both worlds of the African American struggle, as well as recognizing how white supremacy is perpetuated under new systems of control by countering dominant political or social status which oppressed black identified residents. So they were able to identify with it because of their own journey, and because of their quote unquote kind of status. Yeah, they got a better education and became political, and helped form all of the stuff from the Reconstruction to probably the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
Any progress that was made at all in that time frame, which I didn't ever look up,
Right.
is probably from
which we will later.
a Creole of color.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so
Period.
there you have it.
Well, that's a wrap for this Getty Greens episode. We have covered a lot of heavy topics.
Yeah.
Even with personal experience to social challenges, because yeah, but societal challenges are even worse because you're getting in a box.
Yeah, we are. It's been a powerful conversation. I think it's important to remember that being biracial is a complex journey, and everyone's experience is unique.
Definitely, because you're supposed to be, you're mixed. You're definitely not everyone's mixed is the same.
Right. And also where you came up and how people in where you came up treated you plays a role. Yeah, exactly.
But I hope our listeners feel seen, heard, and understood.
And before we go, I want to encourage everyone to share their own stories. Whether it's a positive experience or a challenge, your voice matters. So let's continue the conversation on social media.
And don't forget to subscribe to me because, why not? You're listening, why not? We need the numbers to go up.
Oh my gosh.
And for more episodes, we'll be back soon to discuss more about being biracial in America.
If it becomes popular.
Yeah. So look at the numbers. Okay?
Until then, stay stay safe, stay strong, and keep being yourself.